I wrote my first year seminar research paper on air pollution and the effects that it has on human health. So, a little bit about air pollution in general. It's defined as the presence or introduction into the air of toxic chemicals or substances which in turn have harmful or even poisonous effects. These harmful or poisonous effects include various diseases, infections, and cancers, and they kill over 200,000 people in the United States every year. It started in the mid-1800s during the Industrial Revolution due to the increase in factories and mass production, which I will talk about later, and it has affected the health of people all across America. Elaborating on the last point, some of the main diseases and infections caused by air pollution include respiratory and lung disease, including asthma, often found and developed in young kids, lung cancer and pneumonia, leukemia, a type of blood cancer usually associated with exposure to certain vapors through inhalation, birth defects, cardiovascular diseases, liver and other types of cancer caused by breathing in carcinogenic chemicals, and much more. Next is the thesis of my essay, and it reads, although air pollution mainly originated in the mid-18th century during the Industrial Revolution, it emerged as an urgent issue in the United States in the early to mid-20th century as it began to affect the health of thousands of Americans. Since then, many groups, including United States leaders, have made efforts to raise awareness for this issue while also passing legislation in order to decrease its severity. Recently, scientists and researchers have made advancements regarding the issue of air pollution and how it affects the health of the American citizens as well. However, air pollution continues to be a serious threat to the health and well-being of society, especially young children. Some of the main points that I used in my essay to support my thesis include the origin of air pollution and how it was worsened by the automobile industry in the 20th century, and the Denora and Los Angeles smog incidents, and how the public outcry from these two events led to the implementation of federal rules and regulations against air pollution, such as the Clean Air Act, which I will also discuss later in the presentation. As I mentioned earlier, air pollution as an environmental issue emerged during the Industrial Revolution. Even though people did not know it yet, air pollution would come to be a pressing issue that affects the lives of every person living in the United States. The Industrial Revolution was marked by the shift from agriculture and farming to industrial labor in predominantly urban areas. The emergence of coal and fossil-based fuels in factories began to affect the air almost instantly. During this time, the environment was not regulated by the government, so these factories and chemicals they emitted were not an issue to anyone. One industry that furthered the idea of factories and the industrialization was the automobile industry, in which the idea of mass production was created and used by companies and factories across the nation almost instantly. The idea of mass production revolutionized the automobile industry, but with it came negative environmental effects as these processes were conducted in large factories which harmed the environment. Air pollution had gotten increasingly worse due to the emergence of factories, and as a result of this was the emerging smog incidents in both Denora, Pennsylvania and Los Angeles, California. In Denora, a lethal haze was said to cover the mainly industrialized city, and after investigation, it was proven to be smog from severe industrial air pollution. This was one of the first times in which people, including the government, realized that air pollution was not a hoax and that it would create serious damages to the environment if something was not done immediately. Following the Denora smog were the series of LA smog incidents, which further strengthened the argument that air pollution was a pressing issue that needed to be addressed and improved upon. The public outcry for change led to the creation of the idea of the Clean Air Act in 1963 and the official Clean Air Act in 1970, which shifted the government and public views on environmental protection and air pollution as a national issue. It implemented certain rules and regulations in order to prevent air pollution and improve air quality, and continued to be revised throughout the following decades until today. Current issues regarding air pollution are similar to the issues that emerged as far back as the mid-1900s. Although there have been some advancements made in order to combat this issue, air pollution continues to threaten the livelihood of Americans everywhere, but especially young children. Studies show that children continue to grow and develop into their teenage years, and these are the years in which they spend the most amount of time outdoors. However, air pollution limits lung growth in children, makes them more susceptible to illnesses such as asthma, and even harm children's growth before they are born. Recently, a study done by the journal Science also showed that car emissions may not be the only leading cause of air pollution, but also everyday products such as hairspray, paint, nail polish, and more are also factors that contribute to air pollution. Putting this issue into historical perspective has benefits for those worried about air pollution in today's society. It builds a foundation for federal legislators and environmental activist groups to build upon in order to further improve air quality, while also spreading awareness that legislation has been put into place but can also be modified or improved in some way.